If you're in the market looking at a Venue, Sonnet, Brezza, Kiger, Magnite, a Nexon or even a Nexon EV, I suggest you take a look at this. Yes, it is smaller, but only half a size smaller. On the inside, it is feature punch. Yes, you heard that right. I mean, what else feature would you want in a car? You get a sunroof. It is not a panoramic sunroof, it is a single pane unit, but then it does allow for a lot of light to pass inside the cabin. Auto dimming inside rear view mirror. Ask any driver just how useful it is. Things here are top notch, starting with this screen. It is a 10.25 inch screen, very well executed, good readability in all conditions of lighting. It is placed inside this binnacle. Some people might complain that the fonts on it are small, but then what you can do is toggle. You can change the kind of information that is being displayed, and you can enlarge the fonts of the information that you want on the screen. You can load maps across the width of the screen, and that it does because it is connected with this screen as well. So both of these screens, they communicate, and that integration is seamless. Now coming to the steering wheel, not a big fan of this two-spoke steering wheel. However, the logo is illuminated if that is something that you would like in your car. But then these buttons, they lack the feedback of mechanical switches, but I mean, the steering wheel itself is very well executed. It is leather wrapped and feels really premium to hold. Now moving to this screen, again a 10.25 inch screen, but I should not call it a screen because it is a powerhouse. And I say that because it has all the basic information here. So basically you can control your AC functions, you can control your radio, your music, you can control your navigation, but then it also doubles up into a proper iPad screen because you can play games on this, you can actually watch movies on here, and you can also load Apple CarPlay and Android Auto wirelessly. Now that's important because again, cars like the Hyundai Venue and the Kia Sonet are still not offering that. It is a tad bit slow to our touch inputs. However, the unit does not heat up. The audio quality in the cabin is very good. So overall, your multimedia experience, your in-car entertainment experience is top-notch. It actually makes you feel as if you're driving something expensive. A lot more expensive. Even the execution of the cabin, I mean, you look at the texture on the dashboard and you have a variety of textures, okay? This white panel here has a different texture, and this sort of a fake wooden panel here has a different texture. To be honest, it might not be as wide as the Brezza, but then it almost matches the Venue and the Sonnet in terms of perceived width of the cabin. However, this cabin makes you feel special. Now, of course, it is a Tata product, so there are going to be some rough edges around the cabin where you would spot the Tata level of finishing, but nothing that spoils my in-car experience. Wait a minute guys, I'm not done yet. Moving down, you'll notice that there is a new panel that can help control your AC functions, but then there are some buttons here that you would access on a normal basis, like say your fog lamp, your charging socket opener, and also button to your 360-degree camera. Now this 360-degree camera requires special mention because not only you get a 2D view, you also get a 3D view. There we go, and you can see that the quality is really nice, all right? And you have multiple angles here. You can also adjust it according to you. Now this very system also doubles up as a blind spot monitor. Beat that Hyundai, beat that Kia Sonet. What will also make your drive extremely pleasant are ventilated seats. Now there's one more thing that I would like to point out, and that is the addition of an electronic handbrake, and that is because this Punch EV, the long range Punch EV, gets disc brakes for the rear, so they could have given us electronic handbrake with auto hold functionality. Again, great thing to have because when you're driving an electric car and you are on a slope, auto hold function will actually help you set off a lot smoother. Now the only thing that I didn't like in the cabin is the drive selector. It has been carried forward from the older Nexon EV, and I mean, it has its own LCD screen. It looks very attractive, but the execution of it, I mean, especially when you're taking those three-pointer turns in the middle of the traffic and you're parking your car really quickly, this just never tends to work in my favor. Wait a minute, are you still stuck at the fact that this is a small SUV? Now this is a 6-foot adult stepping into the front of the Tata Punch. Now obviously the seat is set to my driving position, and the first word that comes to mind is comfortable. As you can see, the steering wheel is right where it should be. My hands reach out just about fine. The seats, I really need to appreciate that because, okay, the thigh support is limited, but then the side support is impressive, and so is the shoulder support, which is almost absent in cars like the Venue and the Sonnet. Also, the adjustable headrests, they are large. So overall, the driving comfort is excellent. Now with the driving seat left at my driving position, and I would like to reiterate that I am 6 feet tall, there is ample amounts of space in the back as well. So my knees are almost touching the front seat, but then they have scooped it out. So I do have space, it's not uncomfortable. I also have space under the seat to slide in my feet. And the bench, it is genuinely impressive because there is good under thigh support. It is angled slightly higher. There is a good swab at the very end to give your thighs a really good support. And look, an armrest. Now, why am I asking you to consider a smaller SUV when you can get yourself a bigger car? Well, let's say suppose on a monthly basis you drive 500 kilometers. For your car, you would be spending close to 4,000 to 5,000 rupees on fuel. With the Punch.ev, wait for it, you will be spending close to 500 rupees. That is 1 rupee per kilometer or even lesser. The more you drive, the more you save. Now that is just, it's unbelievable, right? It is substantial. So we've established that the Punch is extremely cheap to drive. I mean, dramatically cheaper to drive as opposed to other ICE-powered vehicles. And we've also established that it comes with a lot of features. But don't for a second think that the driving experience lacks character. I mean, it is a Tata vehicle, so you know that the suspension has been taken care of. You know that the platform is really well. Let's look at every aspect one by one. Let's start with the newest thing here, that is the platform. Now, from the outside, if you look at the Punch.ev, it looks quite identical to the Punch ICE, but then it sits on an all-new platform. Tata engineers have confirmed that. Now, this is the very platform that will also house future Tata electric vehicles like the Sierra and the Punch.ev. We just crossed those rumble strips, and I'll talk about the suspension in a bit. For now, the platform. Now, this platform is designed to take future Tata EV models like the Sierra, like the Harrier, and that tells you that it is built for born electric vehicles, and the benefits of that it shows. Like for instance, there is no transmission tunnel. Like for instance, the battery can be housed within the platform itself. It does not eat into the legroom, it does not eat into the cabin space. It also does not hamper your ground clearance. So this actually has more ground clearance than the Punch ICE. So when you're going through tall speed breakers like this one here, you can be least worried about scraping your battery. Also, unlike the Nexon EV that still has some visible wires underneath, this absolutely has none. Now with the long range Punch, Tata Motors is claiming 420 kilometers, 421. However, in the real world, you should be getting close to 350 kilometers. Now, the way that we've been driving it, the way that the range has been depreciating, coming down, the state of the battery, the state of charge for the battery, everything is very proportionate. Remember when the first Nexon was introduced and the battery would dramatically drop from 80 to 60 and then it would jump up back again to 70, all of that is no longer existent. This is a properly, very well executed electric vehicle. I am reading out this figure to you from the screen. The average energy consumption is under 1 kilowatt hour per kilometer. It's actually 96 watt hour per kilometer, which tells you that this motor is extremely efficient. So people who are actually wanting to drive this within the city, I think you'll only be charging it once a week. Once a week you charge it, you can get through your entire week. It costs you close to 300-400 rupees if you're charging it at home. And there we go. Your entire transportation for the week is sorted. And it's not just sorted in a very compromised way. It's actually sorted with all of these features around you. It's sorted with such a great suspension. Talking about the suspension, we all know how well Tata Motors do their suspension setups. This one is a testimony to that. It is in fact so much better than what they used to do. I really wonder what it is, how and where they test their vehicles, because I mean, other manufacturers, you really do need to take notice of Tata Motors suspension. You drive it over rumble strips and it actually feels as if you're driving a BMW. You drive it on bad roads and nothing unsettles the cabin. You drive it through potholes and this suspension hardly passes any thuds into the cabin. It's so well contained, it isolates you from the rest of the world. It's beautiful. So if you are thinking that you're spending close to 15 lakhs for only getting a subcompact SUV, let me tell you, it's only the dimensions that are small, not the capabilities of the car. It is so damn capable. Okay, there's a speed breaker, which means I can slow down. But what I'll do is slow down completely, shift it to sport. There we go. And it's time to test the 0 to 100, 9.5 kilometers. The front wheels just about lifted off from the ground. Okay, gotta go back to the legal speed limit here. It is fast. It is fast for such a heavy vehicle. It feels fast. Not just feels fast. I mean, the way that it climbs up, you You can hear the wheels scream for traction. Yep, we've crossed 100. With the Punch.ev, you have 193 Newton meters of torque, and that is impressive for a vehicle this size. I mean, overtaking is not going to be a problem because immediately, you can do that immediately. Driving it in the city is going to be fun. Anyone who cuts you off, you can go back and you can stab them with electric performance. It's genuinely impressive. Then is the steering feedback. It is heavy. It feels connected. Slight movement and you know that the car is responding accordingly. So again, a very good attribute. Now I'm not calling this a supercar, okay, but it is a driver-centric car. So your daily commutes can get exciting. Who does not like that? I mean, until unless you sit in the back seat, which you can, there is just about adequate space. But this is the seat that you need to experience in the Punch.ev because there is good performance. It is also not just about the on-tarmac experience when you start driving it off-road, as seen by the footages here. It is not an SUV in that sense. It's not a Land Cruiser, so don't get me wrong there. But then, if say suppose you stay in a city and you do take that occasional long distance road trip, because you can do now that it has these many kilometers to offer, you can be rest assured that no matter how good or bad your roads are, the Punch can cope up with that. And that is a great assurance to have when you're driving a car long distance. It is small, but then it is immensely capable. And people who are still wondering, why am I recommending this over the Venue or the Sonnet? Trust me, you go out, you experience it, those rumble strips were taken with ease. You go out, you experience it, and you will then understand what am I on about. That. Now, one thing that is missing with the Punch.ev is the rear spare wheel, and I think that is concerning because according to a recent report that was published in the UK, most electric vehicle breakdowns is not because of flat batteries, but it is because of flat tires. And yes, there is a puncture repair kit, but then it is only a one-time use. For those of you who have that reservation towards Tata Motors and their after-sales and service, I am with you. But then Tata Motors has, like always, constantly reassured us that they are looking into it and they are improving it. It's not going to happen overnight. We do have to give them some time. But for now, I don't think with this electric vehicle, you will be visiting the service station frequently, right? Because the service cost here is extremely low, just like the fuel costs. Say hello to the new way of moving around. Say hello to the future of transportation. Say hello to the Punch Electric. And what a beautiful experience it is, honestly. Ladies and gentlemen, I rest my case. Tata Motors, they've done it. They've finally given us a product that can help eliminate all of that range anxiety and other concerns you might have around an electric vehicle. This is as impressive as electric vehicles get. And this is not a luxury EV that costs above 1 CR. This product is for you, it's for me, it's for the masses, and this is generally going to change that we look at electric vehicles. 421 kilometers of claimed range, but it is going to give you 350 kilometers, and that I think should suffice a week's worth of usage, especially if you drive only from your home to your office and your commute is limited to that. And if that is the case, this is the only SUV that you should be looking at, until unless you want a bit more space on the inside, which I doubt a lot of you actually require. So there we have it, a product that you can trust, an electric vehicle that can be the only car in your garage, a city SUV that feels a lot more premium, a lot more expensive, feature loaded, and everything is just excellent about it. Good job, Tata Motors. This is beautiful. This is exceptional.